Hey everybody, it is Char and I'm your Health and Wellness Coordinator, and today is Wellness Wednesday. If you watched the video last week, you might recall that I said I was going to focus on nutrition tips all month because it is March and March is Nutrition Month. Again, I am not a registered dietitian, but we do have a dietitian from Alberta Health Services who supports our school division when it comes to nutrition information. So she's given me permission to share this information with you. And this week we're going to talk about sodium or salt. And most people consume too much sodium without even knowing it because it's hidden in a lot of foods that we consume. How much sodium should we have daily? 15 to 1600 milligrams is sort of the maximum amount of sodium that we want to take in. And research has shown that most people consume double that amount in a day. Why? Because we don't know where sodium is hidden. You'd be surprised if things like cereals, there's sodium hidden in cereals. And of course we know things like soup. So best piece of advice is to make sure that you're reading those food labels to see how much sodium is in there. Ways that you can reduce sodium in your diet, of course, is using spices when you're cooking, or garlic, basil, mint, those sorts of things. Mrs. Dash is a really good option as well. You want to try and avoid foods, of course, the obvious things like pretzels and chips and peanuts, those things that we know have a lot of sodium. Some things that people, I think they know there's sodium in it, but aren't very mindful about how much they're using, are things like ketchup and barbecue sauce and soy sauce. And I know you can purchase lower sodium versions of those, so make sure that you take a look around when you're out there shopping. The other thing you can do is look for or use lower sodium meat and alternatives. So things like fresh roast beef, fresh chicken, right? Salmon, tuna, those sorts of things, rather than going for processed meats, deli meat that you might want to put on your sandwich. So use some spices. Make sure that you're eating less of those obvious foods that have lots of sodium in them, and then using fresh meat and meat alternatives rather than that deli meat product. And make sure that you read your food labels, okay? We don't want to have that high amount of sodium in our diet. It's really hard on our heart and our kidneys because it can increase our blood pressure. And when you increase your blood pressure, that affects your heart and your kidneys. Okay, so a few tips for holding the salt in our diet. I hope you guys have a great Wednesday, and I will be back next week to talk about another nutrition tip.